So in this video, guys, I'll be showing you the exact differences between the Nikon Z30, which I'm using right now, hence the little flippy outy screen and I can see myself, in comparison to, I didn't say that right, to comparison with the Nikon Z50. Because I've seen people make comparison videos, especially me, but now that I have both these cameras side to side, let's see exactly what's the physical difference and which one do I recommend now that I've officially used both. As you see here, on the left is the Nikon Z50, and on the right is the newer Nikon Z30. Just to give you all a little bit some specs, they both have the exact same sensor. You're looking at a 21 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor. You're looking at the same Z mounts, and pretty much everything is exactly the same when it comes to right here, this guy. X-Speed 6, exact same. But before we get into the differences, let's go into the physicalities, right? So if you're looking at the Nikon Z50, let's talk about price point. So for this guy, Nikon Z50, you're looking at $200 to $300 more in comparison to the Nikon Z30, which you can get for $1,000, including tax, for just the body itself. So the Nikon Z30 is already cheaper. If you're looking at weight-wise, the Nikon Z30 is actually a little bit more heavier at 405 grams, whereas the Nikon Z50 right here is actually at 397 grams. So there is a slight, just a little lighter on the Nikon Z50. So let's get the side profile here. So straight out of the box, what the Nikon Z50 comes with is this horrendous strap with the very vibrant and ugly yellow, where the Nikon Z30 comes with this blacked out strap with the Nikon Z that is yellow. I'm like, great job. Comes with this strap. And the difference that comes to my mind right away is you're looking at ports, right? So if we're looking at ports here, the Nikon Z50 runs on USB, normal micro USB right here. Whereas the Nikon Z30 runs on USB-C. But right off the bat, what I noticed about these two is like the material. The material feels a little cheaper on the Nikon Z30 in comparison to the Nikon Z50. But once again, it is also $200 to $300 cheaper. So still on the topic of actual physical body, what's the actual difference? As you'll be able to see right away is, hey, my EVF on the Z50 is non-existent on the Z30, right? That is one of the major differences. And as you can see, these two little holes right here are microphone ports, right? Microphone, essentially your microphone. These two little dots, as you can see on the Nikon Z30, much more pronounced right here, left and right channel, it even says that. So you should be able to record audio a little bit better if you did not have a microphone, but who would want to do that? Next off, as we're talking about physical differences, is let's look at the actual form factor. So right here, as you can see, Nikon Z50, the record button is just a little button right here, right? They took that away. They moved that button right down. Now you have this big button right here, right? That you can press record, nice and easy, where this one's a little trickier. What the major difference is, besides the, getting rid of the completely electronic EVF, electron viewfinder, as well as you know, no more flash, is getting rid of the articulating screen, which is, oh, sorry about that, guys, a little smudgy. But the Nikon Z50 has this articulating screen, which no one was really a fan of. And yeah, I still don't know what they were thinking with this design. But this was the articulating screen, and it was, much of an annoyance for any of those solo selfie YouTubers. And as you can see, put that to the side here, the Nikon Z30 has the one and only finally, the articulating screen. Fully articulating, as you can see. And now, you can vlog yourself and see yourself in this mirror like the old school D5000 models. Bringing into this, because they got rid of the articulating screen, the touchscreen here, some of the buttons are not present in the Nikon Z30. As you can see, I have the zoom in, zoom out microphone, the display button. These are gone here, right? So the minute I used the Nikon Z30, it took me a little time of getting used to, oh, right, these buttons over here, they're not here anymore, as you can see here. That's the difference. And as well, in terms of form, the Nikon Z50, I can go to photo video mode like that. I'm like, where's, oh, it's right here. This little dial here, photo, video, photo, video. So the button layout has changed a little bit, but besides that, everything is exactly the same. And you'll see you have your front change mode dial here, front dial here, and your mode dial on the back. Exact same. Buttons feel the same, but the Nikon Z30, the buttons itself does feel a little bit more clickier. I don't know if that was done on purpose or just the different models. And another difference that from the body I noticed is the Nikon Z50 for the camera straps, they have these little dongles here, right? And I'm glad for the Nikon Z30 that they decided to get rid of that and just stick to what almost like the D5000 models, having these built in without having these little, I don't know how secure this is, but these little dongles here is the exact same. You have your function 1 and function 2 buttons right here. Exact same. As you can see, the top is completely gone. Nikon emboss is right here, the logo. This is the top view. Dials are pretty much exactly the same, as already said. I do wish the Nikon Z30 had a little bit more better quality on these little flaps. If you actually purchase the Nikon Z30, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you weren't using the Nikon Z50 before, they put the Nikon charger on the bottom, which I think is very smart in comparison to this charging port right here, where it was very at the top. And sorry if you're seeing autofocus issues because I'm actually using my D5200. Micro or mini HDMI port right there. Your charging ports, they swap that around, and your mic is exactly the same location. But the quality of the Nikon Z50 just feels a little bit more sturdier with these little, plastic coverings here. Just feels a little flimsy. That's just my own opinion on the Nikon Z30. But once again, you are paying $200 to $300, a little bit more cheaper. This was released in, Nikon Z50 was released in 2019, right? And the Nikon Z30 was released this June. So there are the major physical differences between these exact cameras. But let's talk about the actual internals, right? Let's see the menu system. Is it the exact same? Are we talking about difference? Whoops. Menu, you're looking for the exact same, right? The Nikon system menu is pretty much exactly the same as I was going through my Nikon D5200. I very like the menu of the Nikon cameras. Very similar, straight to the point in comparison if you were to use other cameras. So the major difference between the menus is if I go into, let's say, video here, and I can go into, let's say, AF area mode. And as you can see, AF auto area people, right? If I go into that same menu on my Nikon Z50 here, as you can see, it even explicitly tells me face and eye detection turn on, but eye detection is disabled during movie recording, which is one of the major differences in the Nikon Z30 that you can actually have, right? You have face detection, but this is all for photo. None of this is unfortunately for video, which is why I picked up the Nikon Z30 here. The different area focus modes is I have autofocus AF with people and animals as well. And it has eye detection, right? During video, which is crucial. And the big difference from internals in terms of recording video, you'll see here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Nikon Z50, 28 minutes and 3 seconds. How much I can record on this? But Nikon Z30, 1 hour and 11 minutes. Essentially, unlimited recording time on the Nikon Z30, depending on exactly how big your memory card is and how much before your battery dies. But here's the big kicker, right? Between these two cameras, I can have the Nikon Z30 plugged in, right? USB-C, and have this continually shooting and filming. I have not run into any overheating issues yet, but I will let you guys know. Whereas the Nikon Z50, you can plug it in micro USB, but it's not going to detect USB power as you're recording. AKA, you can't record and worry about running out of batteries all the time and this and that. I had to change 3 batteries, let's say, if you want to record nonstop for 3 hours. Whereas with the Nikon Z30, you can do that, plug that into a power bank or into your computer, and have this as a streaming camera for your, your streams or whatever you're gaming. Is a great face cam, right? That's another alternative. So when it comes to the overall difference between these two and which one you should actually get, is that the Nikon Z50 is meant for more of a hybrid approach, where if you want to do photos, this EVF is crucial for everything, right? Especially if you're outdoors and sunny. You're not really a photographer if you don't really use the EVF. If you use the LCD, it's going to be a little tricky. It's a must for all you photogs out there. But you also have to understand that, yes, articulating screen, you put this on a tripod, you can't really see yourself. That's really annoying. No continuous in terms of video record time. It can't charge, and it does charge through micro USB, but the camera has to be off. So that's what, you need to be aware of. The Nikon Z30, on the other hand, you have a fully articulating screen, right? So if I didn't want to damage the screen, I can tilt it in. Whereas for the Nikon Z50, it's always out. So there's a chance that you can smudge it, you can scratch it, right? Fully articulating screen. You have unlimited record time. It can record and charge at the same time via USB-C, eye detection, as well as, I didn't notice it or mention this yet, but there is a tally light, meaning that if I were to be recording, right, and I press recording, you can see there's a light that tells me, hey, I am recording right now, and it's on. Because how many times have you guys recorded a video and you're like, oh shit, how do I know if I'm on? Is it recording? Is it not recording? You can't tell on the Nikon Z50, right? So it's good to have a tally or recording lamp, which is why this camera is geared towards YouTubers and content creators. So bottom line is, which one do I recommend? If you're a YouTuber content creator, I think the Nikon Z30 is one of the best. I'm a little biased. I'm not sponsored in terms of a content creator camera, right? Interchangeable lenses, you're shooting at 4K, you have 120 frames slow motion, unlimited record time, you have a flippy Audi screen, you have a tally light. It's pretty much trying to conquer the Sony ZV market, right? Whereas the Nikon Z50 is more for, let's say, an entry-level enthusiast who does photos, but also wants their capability of shooting video, which the Z50 would make a great B cam, right? So like I said, I bought the Z50 to replace my Nikon D50-200, but then I started to run into issues. Then I'm like, they should have released the Nikon Z30 first. And now this guy will be my main shooter for this YouTube channel. And my overall thoughts is, when it comes to quality, it should be exact same. You're looking at the exact same sensor. A little bit better autofocus, but low light, everything is the exact same. CMOS sensor, like I already said, APS-C, 21 megapixels, exact same camera. So yeah, guys, that was my overall comparison between these two cameras. And in terms of quality, I'm not going to do a video quality test because it's the exact same, unless you guys want me to, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. But I will be doing a vlog test to see whether or not how that microphone actually sounds without any external microphone, and putting this on sport mode using the kit lens, and can you actually try daily vlogging with this camera? Is it slept? Is it not slept? Anyways, my name is Peter. You're watching a Broke Visionary Collective, where we all start with nothing, but you can always create something. Everything I mentioned is in the link below. Help me help you.